Longtime fans of the show should be familiar with the lender formerly known as Sue Pullen, and I'm pleased to announce that she's back, fresh off a rebrand and ready to help as Sue Mackey. Sue is a certified mortgage advisor at Fairway Independent Mortgage, an equal housing lender who focuses on finding the right product for you and your needs. She has over 20 years of experience helping thousands of homeowners. Whether it's purchasing, refinancing, or even a reverse mortgage, Sue will help. Sue's licensed in 36 states now, so reach out and let Sue Mackey it happen for you. The best way to reach her is just give her a call at 520-977-7904 or in an email, spullen@fairwaymc.com. Fairway Independent Mortgage has an MLS number of 2289. Sue Mackey has an MLS number of 206048. That email again, spullen@fairwaymc.com, and that phone number is 520-977-7904. Shoot Sue an email and let her know she needs to update that address. Disclaimer time. This is where I tell everyone to lighten up. It's just a podcast. Trading is like that roller coaster at the amusement park. Thrilling, unpredictable, and potentially stomach-churning. What works for one person might leave another clutching their hat in the wind. Our hosts and guests, they're awesome, knowledgeable, full of insights, but we're not financial advisors. So don't rush to make any investment decisions based solely on our banter. Always consult with a professional or do your own research. Plus, let's face it, we like to have fun, laugh, enjoy the trading ride together. It's all in the name of good podcasting fun. So remember, take it easy, don't bet the farm, and keep your seatbelts on at all times. Thank you for listening. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the China Shop, home of the Band of Traders podcast. I'm your host, Kyle, and joining me tonight, I've got Vanta Trading's Baba Yaga and Avo Alpha's Fleri. Hope you guys had a great 4th of July weekend. I do want to say thanks to everyone listening live. If you're joining in throughout the chat, can't think of a better way to spend a Friday night than with all you guys. So, what are we talking about tonight?
Trend days seems fitting.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think I wrote something about friends and trends.
Friends and trends, yeah.
Oh, yeah, we also got to catch up on your World Series poker tourney experience.
Oh, man, it was so good.
We've had a hard time getting a roundtable together since that event, and I've been dying to hear about it. We'll probably follow that up with some good, bad, and ugly as usual. Maybe get a bold prediction? Maybe not. We'll see how we're doing.
Maybe. Never know.
Yeah, we'll check in on those here in a minute, just after we give everyone here a chance to plug and promote themselves. Baba? What you got going on, brother?
Kyle?
That's you, dude.
It's
Welcome
me.
back.
It's good to see you. What do we have? I mean, same plugs as always, to be honest. Come hang out in Vance on Fridays. It's a good time. It's free. We usually hang around at least an hour, sometimes longer.
Sometimes we raid Vico and Trade Pro.
Sometimes we raid Vico and Trade Pro. Sometimes we trade with Vico and Trade Pro, which I still need to set that up for another go-around. It's a good time. It's a good time with those guys. And, yeah, I mean, that's about it. Come hang out. Have a good time.
I think we rescheduled the strategy development meeting for this Tuesday. I think Banks and I might have volunteered you to do some presentation on something. Fleri, what do you got going on, man?
I mean, not too much. I say not too much, but like as far as like plugging stuff and anything, nothing crazy, but a little bit of a big project kind of unrolling here over the next little bit. I've been full-time trading for the last, I quit my job like 4 years ago almost. So it's literally just been poker, obviously I had some businesses in there, trading related and trading for the last, 3.5 years, 4 years as it. And working on launching a food service company with a friend of mine that has an interesting opportunity. So it could be pretty big. We'll see. At the very least, going to explore it over the next little bit. So it'll chew up some of my time, but been working super hard to get most of my trading automated. I think you guys probably know some of that story.
Yeah.
And been sort of testing it. Dude, I mean, it's hard. You always have to kind of manage that stuff. But yeah, anyways, this will be like the first time to have some other sort of like supplemental version of income that's not just like walnut in your fucking ass every day trying to figure out whether or not you're going to fucking put the electricity on. So yeah, just Baba can relate. Yeah, so an interesting, just kind of like new chapter. Excited to see what the potential is huge. So, maybe see me on the NQ offer with 50 clips here soon if things go the right way. But yeah, that's about it. Yeah, just been grinding on automation and we'll see where this thing takes us.
Where are you launching at? What city? Is it going to be in your hometown or somewhere else?
Yeah, well, hopefully the Midwest in general. But yeah,
nice.
starting around this area here, and we've got some pretty good contracts already lined up, and we'll see what happens.
Shit, yeah, man, you have to keep us in the loop.
Yeah, I said I would never go back to the kitchen, but here we are.
Been watching Bear too much, huh?
Yeah, right.
It's
a good show, man. It really is a good show.
Yeah, I know. Let's see. As far as the show goes, we should have another great episode with Andrew, longwintertradingco.com. When we get to the good, bad, and ugly, you should see probably a little taste of some of what we talked about on that one. Also, Laura's been working hard on the new Knowledge Center for the website, so please check it out. And if you see anything that you'd like to get added, send it to us. You can find that at bandotraderspodcast.com. And checking in on the chart watch on our quest to be number one somewhere, anywhere. Uganda popped up out of nowhere to peak at number 6 in investing last week. I have no idea what happened. I think CP is playing around with the VPN. Uruguay, Slovenia, we're still in the top 250 there. Ireland tried to get us into the top 100. I'm not going to say that a coordinated VPN movement wouldn't get the job done, get us to number 1, but it probably would be more ethical than stealing your friends' phones and subscribing us. Honestly, I don't care which way you do it. I just want to chart number 1 in any category, in any country, and we'll do something embarrassing to celebrate the occasion.
I feel like I didn't know this was a movement. I definitely can dust off my VPN from leveraged crypto trading days.
Well, I should probably check in on some of the bold predictions. I think the main one was the last time we were on, I said that Sweden was going to chart us top 5 by the end of July. And we're going to have to play the call to action again here from Lucas, because guys aren't doing your jobs, buddies.
Hallå till alla mina svenska vänner. Ert stöd har visats i siffrorna, men nu behöver vi er hjälp. Så minst 12 stycken till, kanske till och med dubbelt så mycket för att nå första plats. Så säg till era vänner att prenumerera på Band of Traders. För att om vi når första plats så lovar jag att jag käkar surströmming.
Like, please, don't let Lucas down here. I want to chase Lundqvist. All right, no, wait, what was it? Sturstrumming?
See, I don't even know what... I mean, I come from a small town in the South. I have no idea
what you're talking about. It was what he volunteered
me
to eat if they do chart us.
Oh, is that weird fish, actually?
Cooked in lye.
Yeah, you remember the message you got, Fleri, asking what you use lye for? That was why.
That was that fish. It literally looks like fish jello.
Yeah,
it comes in a bucket. Yeah.
Pretty
sure you have to rinse it or it's not good if you eat it. But yeah.
I'm just glad that we're not looking at like wherever the fuck Balut is from, because that's one I don't think I could do. Where is that? Thailand?
Yeah, this is kind of something you got yourself into.
Dude, you're on an island.
I don't know if you expect camaraderie. You're not going to find it on this side of the screen, brother.
Homie, don't play that shit.
Cleo says, "Eat the fish." All right. Let's see. Let's go ahead and just dive in on the topics today then. And I do want to kick things off with Fleri, your Vegas trip, man. If you just want to kind of tell us about the experience, man, how it was, how you did.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously been working on the poker game over the last little bit, and just decided to take the first trip out to Vegas. Had some people kind of join me in the adventure, and took some fun videos of it. And maybe if I ever get around to it, I'll put together like a little vlog form of it. But anyways, went out there to play at the very least a $1,500 six max. It was event 12. And I really didn't know what to expect. Six max is like, so that for people that don't play poker.
So you're always playing like shorthanded?
Shorthanded, yeah. So there's 6 maximum people at each table, which changes, the ranges play wider, and you're supposed to play more aggressive. And that's like a much more challenging game. But, the time I could go and how it works with my wife's work and getting somebody able to watch the kids and all that stuff, that was it. So, yeah, I went out there. And it was wild. Like I literally, so I boarded a plane like 4 a.m. The tournament starts at 11 a.m. So I boarded a plane at like 4 a.m. or I leave my house at 4 a.m. I get to Vegas at like 8:15. Take an Uber to the hotel, drop off my bags, get back in the same Uber, go over to the Paris Horseshoe Casino where they're having the World Series, and literally like in there by like 10 o'clock or something like that. And I have an hour to figure out how to get into this tournament. I find the registration desk, and literally as I'm like registering, somebody's like, "Hey, Fleri," and I'm like, "Oh, wow." It's somebody from the Suited Kings Discord who I just seen make a pretty deep run with Red. He was like, I think he finished like 12th when Red won the MSPT. anyways, Jay was standing right there, and he was like, "Hey." I'm like, dude, lost puppy, help me out. First time at the World Series, like I got a ticket. Like, where do I go? And he's like, yeah, here, let me see. So he brought me over. So I kind of like got the lay of the land. And that was it. Like, so shot out of a cannon. I sit down, and literally there's only max 5 other people at the table. There's 4 sitting there. 3 of them are clearly Euro crusher, like pros.
Right.
I mean, like you could just see it. They all spoke some version of like broken English or had like accents where you could clearly tell that they were from some European country and were traveling very far to, crush my soul in poker. And the other guy sitting to my right was an Asian guy. And I was like, hey, how's it going? And he literally went, like, hi. And I was like, holy shit, like, so you don't even speak English. That's how good you are at poker. Like, you literally came here just to, again, like, just eat my lunch at poker. So that was my first table. I sit down, and then the last seat got filled by a guy, if you want to go Google him or whatever. His name's Mike Dentale. He's like a famous cash game grinder, poker player, kind of like extravagant New York guy. He sits down. He puts like $20,000 in cash on the table. He's like collecting some last longer bets, or somebody owed him money. He's playing hands all while. I mean, dude, it was like right out of the book. Like, it was so good. So, yeah, I mean, it was just like the full experience. And I managed to like find a stack, get to break one, double up. I actually took out Mike Dentale, which was really fun.
Oh, that's awesome.
He was kid, hey, kid, blah, 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 yeah, kid. Well, nice to run that good, huh? Blah, blah, like, just running his mouth. But anyway, so I find the stack, and I'm on break, and I'm walking around. I literally see, like, again, if you're a poker fan, like Ryan DePaulo, who does a vlog, he's walking around with this stick. I saw Phil Ivey in the hallway. I mean, dude, it was so good. Like all the things that, like, if you love poker, it's just worth going, even if you're just punting $1,500 or there's $400 tournaments, $600 tournaments, whatever, like, just go. It's so much fun. So anyways, like, had that whole experience and came back, and, there was 3,000 something people in the tournament, and I think 310 or 305 got paid. I just kind of kept building a stack and had to fight these Euro pros that are super aggressive, and just like had to kick it into a gear that really is not like very standard for me. I'm usually a pretty tight player, but like I was just like, I'm not going to let these guys just, like pee in my Kool-Aid all day. Like, pushed around. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it was not check. It was like re-raise you Euro motherfucker. So
if you want to see this card, you'll stop speaking Sputnik.
Yeah. So I ran a stack up, and we got down to the money, like the hand for hand. And I mean, we're in this huge room, and it's like, the guy's on the mic, and he's, hey guys, we're hand for hand. And there's a whole process, and it was just like the whole room cheered. The guy gets on the mic and says, okay, everybody's now in the money. So yeah, just the whole thing was just like really fun. It was a great experience. Made the money, and then actually bagged for day 2. So I had to come back to day 2, which was in sort of like, if you watch the TV broadcast, it was in that room. Oh, so nice. I'm like there, like I can see the final table, like where I'm supposed to play for my bracelet. The only problem is I showed up for day 2 and the deck did not, because I literally, it was just one of those day 2s where you just get no hands. I had okay chips coming in. I had like 25 big blinds in a chance, in a dream. And the deck was just like, yeah, fuck you and your dream. But I hope you enjoyed yourself. And I did.
Yeah, you'll have that sometimes.
So anyways, I got 169th place out of like 3,000 something people. I think I cashed for like $3,600 or something like that, which, I mean, was like maybe spent more on the playing piggy bank and Huff and Puff.
Yeah, but I mean,
but man, literally priceless. So good. And I just can't recommend it enough. Even if you're just like a slight fan of poker, like just go out there, play a $400, $1,000 tournament, mystery bounty, whatever they have. It was so fun, man. I'll definitely be back next year. Can't wait to go back.
That's freaking awesome, dude. And that's pretty impressive, man, to cash in your first one of those. That's the first.
1 for 1. Yeah. I could literally retire with a 100% win rate in the World Series, but likely won't.
I met a guy at a pool hall once, and he'd played like a bunch of the famous like 9-ball players, like Allison Fisher, Jeanette Lee. I don't know if you know any of the big names in women's 9-ball, but yeah, he played and beat all of these women. And like he met, I think, one of them the second time. She's like, "You want to play again?" And he's like, "I still owe you a game." And he says, "No, I'm done. I'm retired."
Yeah, right.
I can't improve my record.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do want to ask just real quick then before we move on to the next topic here. Like, was there anything that like stood out as far as like the similarities between the high stakes poker and the trading that you do? Like, were there anything that you like took away from that experience or that you brought from your trading experience to the poker table?
Yeah, I mean, so risk reward, being a good loser is like absolutely paramount, especially at that stage. I feel like when you're up against competition that's like that, it's very similar to like trading, where it's just, there's a lot of people that are, fish in the market, right? But there's also, you're in a very highly competitive sort of sector, and playing at the World Series is similar to that. So, there's some things that you have to do that are just uncomfortable. You don't want to do it. Your ego doesn't want to do it. The book sometimes doesn't even say to do it, but like you just have to sort of like find a better spot. And there's a lot of those like table dynamics. And I'm sure there was people that were thinking that about me,
Right.
But like, it's like, okay, I could 4-bet this Euro crusher or this, guy that doesn't speak English, or I could just wait until Mike Dentale, who's just like literally got 20 grand on the table. And this is like, he's throwing chiclets at the World Series here for buy-ins. Like I could wait till he just blasts off in a hand, which is what I did. Right. And so there's some dynamics there of like, there's always a better trade. There's a better spot. There's no point to like sort of diddle in the middle. But there's that stack preservation, certainly going like closer to the money bubble. It's just like, listen, if you don't have a stack when you go all in, you're gonna have
life's on the line.
Yeah, your life's on the line, right? But if you can take a couple of little like chips at it and things like that. So yeah, there's a lot of parallels to the trading and poker world, which is, very much how like mine and Red's friendship sort of developed, just watching what he's able to do with the game of poker. And how that would translate, in my opinion, to his ability to take those skill sets and bring them to the trading world, and then vice versa. Honestly, I found a lot of success once I started sort of like realizing the parallels and then channeling them, not only in trading but in poker as well. So there's a ton. Discipline.
Hand discipline is huge. I actually kind of like what you're saying about picking the spots. It's something I think I've been finally starting to realize in trading that. Yeah, just because the setup looks okay, if it's not in the spot you want it, like maybe wait for a better one.
Be picky. Yeah,
I'll wait for the punters who are getting out of hand, and then try to jump.
Wait for your rush.
Yeah,
Daniel was just talking about that again. Another good poker blogger, Daniel Negreanu. Yeah. He says just wait for your rush. Wait for your rush. You have to be there for your rush. It's the same thing. It's like, dude, we all have had those weeks in trading, right? Like, but if you're not there for it or you're not capitalized for it. It's not even possible, right? If you're just sitting on the sidelines, like who knew if this was your week or whatever. And there's a lot of parallels to that sort of stack preservation, capital preservation idea. I don't know what you guys have going on with those chips, but I'm sure it has something to do with preservation.
No, I don't know. It's a risk reward thing.
Okay.
Sorry. One last question I think I missed from the chat here. Someone wants to know if you're taking any medication to help with the nerves when they're in the poker room.
Any medication? It's called vodka.
Oh, the lack of sleep. Oh, gotcha.
The lack of sleep. Yeah. No, I got kids to do that.
All right. Why don't we move on to the next one here then, which I don't know if this was a joke. What I wrote down on the notes here was friends don't let friends fade trends. You want to explain the setup there, or do you want to just tell me it was a joke and we can move on to the next backup topic?
No, it wasn't a joke.
Okay, I didn't think so.
I mean, I don't know about you guys and your modes of work, but obviously we've been going parabolic in a bullish trend for a while. And the way that I look at it, the time frames start shifting bullish, bearish, bullish, bearish, bullish, bearish like that, which we've seen on sort of the 1 hour. Now, the sell-offs have been very muted, but we've been losing major highs and then just like recovering them, losing major highs, recovering them. It was building, right? And one of the things that I was kind of sharing with some of the people that I hang with was that, that 600 point 4 hour candle is coming. You just got to be ready for it because one, it's a possible, not fun experience. And two, it's a huge opportunity. And so we saw that, Thursday, yesterday?
Yeah, Thursday.
Right? Yep. Coming out of CPI and CPI yesterday CPI, today PPI and Michigan bullshit. But anyways, so the interesting thing about Thursday, and I'll say this, if you trade in a group like you guys do, or on Voice, or share your thoughts, or have like an open conversation with a handful of people that you respect, there's often or almost always different trades going different directions, different opinions, and it can be very difficult to filter that. And I think one of the things, at least that I do and I recommend to people, is that you just like, I respect your opinion, Baba. I respect your opinion, Kyle, but like it's not going to affect my trade.
Yep.
And for the most part, I'm not really going to go out of my way to impose my thesis or, my analysis on top of yours or to try in any way to change your mind. I'll share it, right? And you understand and respect my work for the most part, right? Like people, like if you're trading with them, what they're doing or why they see what they see. But Baba's not just going to be like, dude, you're an idiot for thinking it's bullish today. Like it's just not a thing.
Right, exactly.
Yesterday was, I think, one of those exceptions for me where, we kind of talked about this before, where we've had days like this where it's like, you hear people doing it or getting quiet, right? On days like Thursday. And I typically will not say anything and really, again, like go out of my way to not impose my thesis on someone else. But Thursday, I think, was one of those days where friends don't let friends buy the dip, like on a day like that. And I actually went, I was in another Discord, like there were some people that were just like, buy. And it just like, I actually had to, I went in and like made a few posts, just like, again, like, guys, this is what we're looking at today. Like there's still opportunity here and you're going to be on the sidelines on, either a blown account or a daily loss or whatever it is that's going to take you out of this. And there's still massive potential. So yeah, I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on that. And I can certainly speak more to it, but I think Thursday was one of those examples where I personally like went to the people that I care about, right, in the trading space and was like, this is just not like, it's a short. It is a short. All of the trend day characteristics are there. Stop it. Or at the very least, watch it, right? Like just like buy a call. If you have to be long, just buy a call, put $300 in a call and see if you were right. Cause it's not worth it. Like it's just not. So yeah, I don't know. That was kind of the genesis of the idea of the, friends don't let friends fade trend days. And then of course we get today, right? Which kind of goes the other way. And then you get that like, so I think it's perfect textbook, right? Because the hopium is what happened in, the last hour of the day today. So there's a 200-point sell-off, right? So how many people caught faded all day, right? And on their last bullet or their accounts like, here's the stop, right? And their accounts like here, and then it rolls over 200 points. And they risked, 90% of their bankroll for a 0.2% trade that they ended up covering after it got back to break even, 7 points, in the green or something like that. So,
right.
Yeah, I don't know. Thoughts from you guys on that. And I can certainly share more, but like, it was just the back-to-back days like that, where it's just like, I think it's a time to speak up, right?
I don't know, Baba. I mean, what do you think, man? I mean, I think we do a good job of like paying attention to when people aren't acting the way we usually expect them to, right? Like I know you've reached out to me when I've had excessively quiet days on voice channel, and I know I've reached out to you when like you've seen like you fighting it some days. I don't know. What's your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to get better at, and I think today was a good example. I didn't really. I mean, again, this is more to the point of what I messaged you about the show. Like, if you don't have to trade in a range if you don't want to, and you can decide for whatever reasons that you don't want to. And today was that for me. Like I was looking for kind of two specific things, and neither of them shaped up. So I just was like, well, all right, we'll just be watching today. I mean, I'm not engaging with this because on this move back up, there was a couple of good spots. I thought if this does, this or whatever, then maybe it's something to offer. So if we fumble the bag into like the 560, 580 range, like into value area high from a 20-day composite into that kind of big bottom section of that big node for that whole upper distribution, I might would put something on there, maybe. But conflicting is that we're back inside of a wide balance, at least as we move back up. We talked about that off the open. So it's like, And really the open was like right on that balance area low, which then we got back up to value for that distribution. Then we got up to 20-day value area high. As soon as we like for that continuation trade, you'd have liked to seen at most that 494 area sweep, suck back in, get below 440s, continuation to the downside with some strength.
Mm-hmm.
That's the trade that I would have liked to been a part of, to go trade to like 280s, 250s, somewhere in there. So if that's what I would like to participate in. I don't want to participate in trying to short every other possible level up through the thing. I want to participate on this, like on the strong side of all of that, which would have been like a fumble by the buyers, sellers pick the ball up, and then we go that way. I felt like there were so many spots that would be enticing to me that I just didn't. I didn't really want to be in front of it all day because I felt like I would have this urge to try to look at a small time frame and find a spot to put something on. So I had like, I think the first from like 9:30 to 10:30 and 10:30 to 11:30. Like there was, a couple of time-based things. Like if we had a setup there, I would take it. Otherwise, I'm not going to be a part of fading that up. And so to the point of today, I would say like you don't have to be busy all the time, and it can save you money and frustration. Just like, hey, this is like what I'd like to see unfold. If the market doesn't jump through that hoop, that's okay. But what I would like to participate in is this type of setup. And if it doesn't happen, that's fine. Knowing full well that like being back in balance and value, we're full of helium these days. So we just drift higher. On the big sell-off day, I think I took one stab at a long pretty quick, pretty early, and was out pretty quick.
Yep.
Probably.
30 level.
And after that, like, you could have sold anywhere. I don't think I sold. I think I actually started trading bonds on the other screen or something. Just, again, for the same reason, like we're back in a range. So rotating back through that range, back inside of that balance coming the other way, there's probably a couple spots that I could have justified throwing something on. But that was coming into the open. The one thing that I noticed and we talked about was like that 4 hour, the look of the 4 hour looked very much like blowing the top off and rolling over.
Pre-market CPI, retrace, no tick OR. I mean,
yeah. Now it's hard to trust that and turn on a dime when all we've done is watch the sellers fumble over and over and over for the last 7 months, roughly. But if you, like you said, it was a no tick OR. I think I put a short on somewhere and got ticked out. And I was like, if we're going to be like that, then I'm just not going to, then you can just do whatever you want. So it's a long-winded answer to, I agree with what you're saying, Fleri. I don't think we had, like, I think if somebody was dip buying, that was definitely a day to say, hey, what are you doing here? At the same time, it's also okay if what you're more comfortable with trading isn't showing up, then
go away.
You don't have to do anything with it.
Another day. I remember there's been a few times that I've seen, I don't remember if it was you, Fleri, that used to say like no shorts above this area, or if that was something that Baba and Banks, you guys used to do in your pre-market prep, but it's been a little while since I've seen that. But is there ever a point where you're like, you feel the urge to like caution everybody around you? Like, hey guys, like, stop buying this if you are.
Well, today below, if we'd have broke below the balance, I would have been like,
Yeah, I was going to say balance, like what you said. It was the opposite on the flip side on Thursday, because they peaked below balance into like the end period spike, blah blah blah, whatever you want to call it, the singles, and then they kind of pushed back up. And once they failed below the previous day low and that balance area low, like that was it, guys. Like, and it was kind of the opposite today, where it's like they reclaimed balance, and if they didn't reject that, it's like shorts are just going to get wrecked all the way up. And that was a big one on Thursday. I think that, the interesting thing is, like, jokingly we said friends don't let friends, buy the dip on trend days or whatever, sell the rip on trend days, because we've had both. But really it's the flip side. So like, yes, there's one part like Am I convicted enough that this is just not something that you want to be buying, where I would actually say, hey, I don't think you should be buying this. Based upon my experience, I don't think you should be buying this. Trust me or not, whatever. I just wanted to say it. There's that piece of it. I think what Baba was mentioning is like just some like really solid like experience. That E equals MC squared of like I don't have to trade this, and I'm just going to step away. I think the next part of it, and really the part that I was sort of like trying to get to, sort of like, don't buy, stop buying, knucklehead. Like we're just like nuking. Is there's still opportunity here. And I think that's the biggest thing. And like, I can get behind like hey, this isn't my setup and this is where I don't want to do business. But there's also like, this is one of those days and it's still got 300 points, 400 points. It's got, legs to it. And I think Thursday was a really cool example of that because it had so many clear downside targets. The swing lows from like a few days prior, that 450 level, 430-ish area, that previous consolidation, the balance area low, like you said, Baba, like basically what you were saying needed to be rejected today in order to see those 200 levels. Those were key targets. I mean, we traversed all of balance basically yesterday.
And the weekly range and the month.
The whole thing. So that, again, I think like the other side of it is like, okay, hey, like you're being quiet and like, I know what you're up to. Ask me how I know, right? Yes. It's like, hey, dude, there's opportunity here.
Well, Fleri, I think that's a great point that you make. And I think that might be a better way to try to snap somebody out of that mentality. Because I've been in that position. I know what that feels like to just constantly be trying to fade the trend and just getting your shit kicked in constantly.
Well, and to the flip side, you've gotten your hand slapped trying to join a trend on a day where it's late too. But all of us have, right? Yeah, you're like, well, they're going to do it today, and you jump in selling. It's a stop, and then we'll roll up to this swing high and fail, and then you take a nut. So there are times where you get your hand slapped both ways. I think the larger context helps distinguish some of what's really possible.
Well, I think, too, just being aware, like having somebody that you respect come in and say, hey, there's still opportunity that's going to be present today. Like, you do not have to catch it right this second. And that's the trap. That's what I always get sucked into. It's that when the volatility starts to increase, when the thing starts to run away and you start to get that greed tricking you into thinking everything's going to work, and then you start feeling like every little move you miss is going to be the one that goes another 300 points. Like to have somebody calm to say, just take a deep breath, sit on your hands for a minute, preserve your capital, and wait for a better opportunity.
Yeah, there's something to do here. And I think that's the big piece, right? It's like, don't lose a bunch of money, but also like, hey, dude, let's make a bunch right now.
Right.
Longtime fans of the show should be familiar with the lender formerly known as Sue Pullen, and I'm pleased to announce that she's back, fresh off a rebrand and ready to help as Sue Mackey. Sue is a certified mortgage advisor at Fairway Independent Mortgage, an equal housing lender who focuses on finding the right product for you and your needs. She has over 20 years of experience helping thousands of homeowners. Whether it's purchasing, refinancing, or even a reverse mortgage, Sue will help. Sue's licensed in 36 states now, so reach out and let Sue Mackey it happen for you. The best way to reach her is just give her a call at 520-977-7904 or in an email, spullen@fairwaymc.com. Fairway Independent Mortgage has an MLS number of 2289. Sue Mackey has an MLS number of 206048. That email again, spullen@fairwaymc.com. And that phone number is 520-977-7904. Shoot Sue an email and let her know she needs to update that address.
On the flip side of that, though, to speak from the side who's not the guru leading the chats in the rooms.
Not either.
more than I am.
I mean, go ahead.
But, there's some responsibility on yourself, too, to kind of talk about your like the whole point of having a group to trade with is to lean on them for support. So if you're struggling, you got to speak up and say something like, guys, I don't know what I'm doing right now. Am I seeing something wrong? I'm every entry I've taken is getting hit in my face. Like, what am I seeing? What am I doing?
Yeah. Or know the people who you're trading with too. Like if I'm getting quiet and normally I'm in, this isn't me, but like, let's say I'm long, I'm short. I'm like, I'm scalping rotations and all of a sudden I'm saying nothing. Yeah. And we're in a 190 point down leg. there's a fucking problem, right? Like,
Right.
and so,
Yes.
like you should, like, it's kind of knowing your crew, right? And, again, like, there's one part, like, we always joke, we call it like Captain Save a Ho, right? Like somebody gets trapped, sellers are, stuck down there. It's like, let's see if they'll go save this guy. There's one part like that, right? Captain Save a Ho, like, oh, I can be the one that stops you from losing all this money. There's this other part that's like, dude, there is a lot of opportunity here. And I think it's interesting because I almost never, like, I share theses and ideas, but like, I almost never say, like you said, Bob, like, close your eyes and just fucking sell somewhere.
Right.
And I think Thursday was probably, you see these days from time to time, right? And Thursday was one of those. I mean, dude, we took a 192 point down leg, and there was still, that was half the day. There was still tons of opportunity. And there was, a counter rotation. So, just to kind of go through like some of the train of thought, like I shared a message, I put the picture in there and I said, all trend day clues are here. This is what I said to them. This is at 9:44 a.m. So we are trading 20,700, right? Mm-hmm. So at 9:44 a.m., I basically said all trend day clues are here. Like, because there was a handful of people that were just like getting long, and there were some people that were like martingaling and doing the thing. Once I saw that candle break, and like you were saying, Baba, that I think it was like 777 was balance area high, roughly 7 something below that was like the previous day's low. Once they failed below that, like 714 or something, once they failed, they tested it and failed again. It was on, in my opinion. We were going to challenge balance area lows, which was like the 400-ish area. So anyways, I said all the trend day clues were there. We retraced CPI. It's a no-tick OR. We've held RTH VWAP on every test. We are well below the RTH mid, and we are back below the 3-day value area low, which was 777, and we're below the prior low of day, which was like 703. And at the time, we were trading roughly, again, like 700 and some change, like about to fail. And there was a lot of people trying to long back into that, right? Like long back into that. And I think like the next thing I said was like, if we don't hold this like 703, it's over. It's like you were saying, Kyle, like no more longs. Like it's over. If we fail and we get back below 703, no more longs. And I literally remember I bought 703 or sold 703 on the way through when they failed through it. And I sent it to you, Baba, because I tried to long right above it. And I literally captured it like, not today, Satan. Like, and I got long because I had a short. I had the short from the open. We've talked about this before, like asymmetrical risk. It was a no-tick OR. I shorted like 95 or whatever, 895. And it was like 7-point risk to like OR high. And I covered it into 830 because I had a key level at 830 that I thought if buyers held, and they bounced 830 like 40, 50 points or something like that. And I covered. I thought I was a genius. They're going to rip it back through the OR. We're going to make a new high. We're going to retrace CPI. And then they kind of came back down. And I tried to buy on like, they held it for a minute, like that higher low. And I was in this trade for like 10 seconds. Literally, it was... I'm long, and someone just hammered it and then stopped break even and took like on half and then took like a 4 or 5 point stop on the other half. And Baba has the picture, the screenshot. I literally instantly flipped short and started going to tell everybody because I like, and that was the 192 point leg. So yeah, it was just like, there was all of these context clues that were trend day, but again, there was still opportunity there. So like the next thing was next swing low is 615 and 579. Nothing for support until 435. And the way I look at it, like everything had already kind of been tested. And this is the dangerous zone, right? Like that's why having your modes of work and having a day planned out like this of like, what if I'm wrong, right? Is helpful because what if I'm wrong and then I see this happen and I want to join the other side? Like there's still opportunity. So we're trading 700-ish, and it's 615, 579. Nothing for support until 435. Largest buy side rotation today is only 55 points, as people were trying to buy the these little like 30-point pops, 40-point pops. Hey, reminder: largest buy side rotation is 55 points. Every pop has been sold. Tons of liquidity below and major swing lows. Sellers have yet to get over their skis into a low. Like not really telling anybody like, hey, dude, just stop. But like reinforcing that, like, hey, all these things that we talk about all the time that I know, like, look at them. They're right there in front of you. And that there's big opportunity, like giving targets, 640, 579 swing low hit. So we start to hit these swing lows, over 100 points lower from the initial post about trend days. Just a reminder that sometimes it's hard to join the trend, but it's often much easier than fighting it. Again, like, hey, like, we're about to take another leg lower, guys. Like,
Right.
it's coming again. And then sharing my fills, that same post I sent to you, Baba. Like, I had the same stream of thought to myself and a few others this morning, and just join the trend versus lighting money on fire. And again, like, it's one part like, guys, I care, and it's one part like, dude, get fucking short and make some money here. So yeah, I get it, dude. It's just like, it's a weird thing because there's sometimes when you watch these markets, as much as we spend time on screens, where dude, like, you just know. And
Yeah.
I'm sorry, like, it sucks, like, when you know and you don't do something about it. But, like, your gut is sitting there going, like, don't tell me that any of you guys on this thing or listening in chat didn't have it in your gut to just close your eyes and fucking sell on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Or on the open today, right? When they started retracing it, got back into balance, just fucking buy and run it. And I didn't do it today. I did it Thursday, right? But I didn't do it today. And I just think it's an interesting thing because there's this, like, stop, dude, I know what you're up to. Stop personally, right? Like, I was about to do it. And
Yeah.
like, honestly, like more impressed with my own discipline of myself. Like, dude, ask me how I know. I bought that dip 192 point rotations 15 times on full size stops. Boom, 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 boom. Like, it's, this one's got to go. This one's got to go. Add another. And it's just like, you finally start to learn these things, and it goes from, and this is like the culmination of, in my opinion, this conversation. It goes from losing money and lighting money on fire to actually recognizing the opportunity and
Love that phrase.
making a shit ton of money. Right. And I think that's like the whole point of, like, these days are huge opportunities, whether they're part of your plan, whether you knew it was coming, whether your modes of work said, I think we have a 600.4 hour candle or not, doesn't matter. When you see it, I know everyone on this call here, like, knew that thing had more legs to it. And we see this from time to time in the market, and they're huge opportunities. So you go from blowing accounts to losing thousands of dollars to making your week, making your month on days like that. And I think that's like a huge, like Baba, you were saying, even just like sitting on the sidelines is like a step in this process from, I think I can make this, but, like, I'm trying to figure it out, or, like, how do I manage trend days? And you're in there, like, asking every Discord, like, what are your trend day clues? And to, like, actually understanding it and seeing some things on the tape and seeing some things in the order flow where you just know that this is an opportunity that you need to be a part of and find a way to get in and then slowly add. Like, you had the trade deal last week, Baba, we were talking about, or 2 weeks ago, where you're just adding.
Yeah.
Then, again, easy to lose money on days like this. And also, there's light at the end of the tunnel to where these things become opportunities and not an opportunity cost, or just a straight cost of doing business. And, again, that's the idea behind just having this conversation, is that, like, there's light at the end of these tunnels of days like this. And it's not just getting your ass kicked every time.
Yeah, and I think what day was that? I don't remember the day. It was last or Tuesday or 2 Thursdays ago or something. We had trend day characteristics to the upside. It was in a place where I wanted to be long anyways. It all lined up. I held a piece of that trade till the last hour of the day. All of those things that, when you have all the trend day boxes to check, you can just, it's either going to work out or not, but I'm going to be here for it, kind of thing. And then I think part of, like, today, and especially yesterday, was just, or not yesterday, but today especially, was like, if this rips all the way back through the highs and I'm not a part of it, I got it last time or 2 times ago. I feel okay if I bat 30% on 200 and something point runners. You know what I mean? Like, that's okay with me. And Fridays have historically been hose for me.
Yep.
or just tough days in general, typically Friday and Monday. And even still, like we talked about this the other day, like, is it still Fridays and Mondays? But like most recent batch of looking at stuff says, yeah, Fridays and Mondays are still not the strongest. So, I'm not gonna be the guy to go into the weekend pissed to high heaven because of what I did on Friday. And so if it doesn't jump exactly through the hoop, then I'm okay with not being in there. I'll tell you this: you can make a ton of money on trend days for sure. Letting them come to you, almost, if trend days typically are when you blow stuff to pieces, then go look at the handful of trend days we've had that were the cleanest and see what things are there. And we've probably talked about this before, but like a no tick OR, or we've actually, I haven't back tested this, Fleri, but we probably should. There's also been the almost no tick where we no tick and then we give it like a 2-point sweep and then we're gone.
Yeah.
Those have happened a lot both ways.
Today's low, right?
Yeah, today. I saw it 3 times 2 weeks ago that it was like a no tick and then a little bloop and then it goes in the original direction where it was a no tick from. Staying above VWAP or strong interactions around VWAP, like that is a piece of it. And then like when you gain, however you look at ranges or however you would constitute like an important high, oftentimes those highs or lows, depending on the type of trend day, especially the first like 2 or 3 that get made, we're just not going to retrace back inside of those. Like that swing high will just be the floor for the next leg up. Like we won't see in the first part of the day with this exuberance, we won't see these deep pullbacks. That's why sometimes you get kind of burned to pieces trying to trade the other side of it. Cause you're like, oh, if we just get back through this, we'll retrace half this move and then I'll flip and I'll join the trend. But you don't get it. You get the short that goes 7 points and then that's where the swing high is, boom, right back. So however you organize time and ranges and stuff, look at the trend days. You'll notice that's an early day characteristic as well, or like a mid-morning thing that will have happened a couple times. And then you're always going to get I feel like you always get the tester in like lunchtime into like 1:30. You always get like that's the highest probability of when we're going to see. It's going to be like 10:45 to 11:15, or it's going to be like after 1:30, where you see like this kind of offloading of risk. If let's say it's an upside day, and if your entries are such that you survive that, your best exit's going to be. And I posted about this that day I was in that trade. I wasn't even at the desk anymore, but I was just like, it'll be a new high or the entry or anything after 3:00 Eastern. Like that's now the exit criteria for what I have left on this trade. And that comes from looking at how many times on a trend day we make the final high or low swing in the last hour of the day. Again, there's like those little waypoints that you have to survive along the way, like that 10:45 to 11:15, that 1:30. And then if you survive those, if the trend holds up through all of that, it's pretty likely to be able to hang out till the end. So there's the opportunity to make a lot. I don't want to disclose who this trader is. I don't think any of us know them. It is public knowledge that this happened on the CPI day, so you could probably snoop around and find it. But this is how quick it can go. This is how quick it can go. All right, 10 accounts, all linked, all over all the thresholds. This person was waiting to trade. I think they needed 2 more days. So by Friday would put them past the payout time window. And then they would have been able to withdraw what was there. They didn't need to make any more. They had made enough. All they had to do was scalp some trades to get some days logged or whatever. No need to put anything at risk. They continued to buy and it wasn't like, if it wasn't a monstrous trend day down, those entries wouldn't have been bad. They weren't buying. A couple of times they bought without any. They just bought randomly. But a lot of times it was a small V bottom recovery rebid that fails. Boom, stop. All those accounts balances were, I don't know what they had in them, but well, I do because they lost every bit of it. $83,000. $83,000 in by 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
I thought you were talking about the guy who accidentally left a short on for CPI and ended up wiping out.
No, this guy was. I mean, I think he's probably pretty wrecked about it because it would have been today. He would have been able to pull $30K out of that, and was kind of, waiting for that in a sense. And who wouldn't be? Like, that's really good money. That's really good work. And then to kind of go on tilt and then think. And initially it was, we're going to trade small and just get this day. And then it was like, oh, I took a stop. We'll trade a little bit more. And then it was, we've got plenty of room on these accounts. We can keep trading. And then it just, you see the psychology.
Dude, it just compounds so fast. Like, you can lose money so fast.
And then there was a point where there was like $1,000 left in each one that could be lost or whatever. And he's like, I probably need to. We'll probably end up having to just like micro scalp these back for a few days before I can trade them again. And then he was like, you know what? Screw it. Why not just go for it? And so he just threw on a trade, basically no stop, and that was it. Gone. And he probably caught the only 40-point bounce of that day or whatever because he shorted the nut low of a move, and then it ran back and stopped him out. I say all that to say, like, when things start to get wild, it's really important not to let it get to that point. It's one thing to lose a couple. I mean, lose a couple thousand, or lose a daily loss, or even if it's a funded account you've taken a withdrawal from and you blunder. I mean, those are learning experiences, but that's going to leave a scar. That's going to be some work to get back through. I mean, that's a lot of money and a lot of time.
If you take the same setup 3 times in a row and you take a stop each time, like, that should be setting off a warning flag in your head, like alarm bells. Like, maybe this isn't the day for this setup.
Yeah. Well, I mean, or just, am I overlooking something? I think that you mentioned that, Fleri or something. I think there's times where I'll message banks specifically and just be like, am I missing something here? Today was a good example. The pace was trash. And I was like, it feels like we're doing the pre-news grind here. Is there another news event that I'm not noticing or whatever? And
I asked the same question. It's so funny. Like, what am I missing? I actually said, did something hit the wire? Like, it was, the tape was so weird.
And then I pulled it up and I was like, oh, we have Michigan, the people from up north are going to tell us some news. And, that pretty much sealed the deal for me, as well as not being super interested today, because 10 a.m. news days are not.
I know that's your favorite.
Yeah, that's my least favorite day, right? That's my absolute least favorite. 10 a.m. news day on a Friday is like recipe for not doing anything.
Ron, I see your question in there, bud, but I don't think we're going to have time to talk about recognizing trend days here. I think Baba gave you some tips on there, but maybe we can...
Yeah, I can send you something, Ron. I can send you something. I'll send you, maybe not tonight when we get finished, but I'll send you something, just like a handful of boxes to look at and check.
4 easy ones that'll take like less than 5 seconds. No tick, 30-second opening range, which means one side doesn't trade through. Multiple distributions in the first 15 minutes. RTH VWAP gets tested and held and never gets breached, or a significant breach, and RTH mid gets tested, held, or never gets significantly breached. If those 4 things are happening, the likelihood of a trend day continuing is very strong. You could mix in counter rotations being less than an average, which on average in NQ is like 40 to 50 points. If the counter rotations are muted and all of those other things are happening, then you mix in any other version of like technical analysis, like Baba was saying, like we've breached back into value or balance or blah, blah, blah. But like, those are like, people are always like, oh, how do trend days happen? Like, how do you know so right away? It's like, dude, it's been 15 minutes. There's 7 distributions. We haven't traded a single tick above the opening range high. And they left like 400 buyers stuck at the nut high. Like, there's some pretty clear things that you learn to see. But like, I think the point of the conversation today, or like why Thursday was so cool, is there was intention.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, whether it's tangible, whether it is experience, you know, whether it's order flow, fucking, you know, it's a wazi, it's a woozy, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Like you can see it sometimes where it's like, man, the boys are here to sell today. Like pre-market, even today, like the way the tape was moving around after the news, and like they were kind of lingering in that area before the open, and then they just kind of like you said, they ticked like just below the opening range, and then they went. There was some intention on the bid. We saw it. Oh, what was it, like 7:05? Was it Wednesday when they pulled back into 7:05 and they hit it, and somebody dropped like 600 lots through the offer. They literally lifted the offer for like 600 lots. It's like, dude, just get long.
Yeah.
Like it's over. There's a few things like where you see it and it's just like, yeah, like maybe I don't have a spot, and yeah, like Baba, I love what you're saying about like the discipline to just avoid the day too, because there's making money or seizing the opportunity, and then there's just like the opportunity is to not lose my ass. Which is just as important, I think.
Yeah, if that's not your day, that's not your day.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's basically, we're just talking about like maturity of like, this ain't it. And I'm not just going to try to like ego trade it to make it because like, you know, most of the time when you're losing that amount of money or doing what we're doing or discussing here, it's like you're out of your process. But again, like, sometimes you just see it like, yeah, there's all these context clues, but there's also just like, dude, the sellers are hate selling today. I think it was like Laban. I wasn't even watching the market. I literally traded like maybe 15 minutes of the day today, mostly pre-market, and then 15 minutes of the day. And I went and took the kids to Sky Zone. I was on Twitter and I saw Laban or whatever, T-Plex, whatever his Twitter handle is now. He said, "Oh, they're hate sellers in ES and Friends." And I pulled it up and I was like when you see somebody who you respect say something like that, it's like, oh wow, okay, so there's somebody with intention. I pulled it up. I looked at the way that they were selling through it. It was that same thing where you just like sometimes you see it. So there's context clues, and then there's just like, bro, the boys just mean business. It's just not a buy. You see the way they're just nuking it through everybody, or they're just lifting every single offer. Like, oh, there's a 200 lot, boom, take it. Oh, you know, like it's just sometimes you just see it.
Especially if they just spent like weeks training us to buy the dip. Yeah. All right, I think we're getting to the point here where we could probably move on and do some good, bad, and ugly if you guys want to.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anybody want to go first?
Yeah, sure. I'll fire. Let's see. Good. 5 green days this week.
Fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah, moderate. I actually profit stopped 4 of the 5 days, which is kind of a relatively like it's kind of getting into that automated trading world where I'm just trying to profit stop, manage P&L to some extent, and let the bot sort of like worry about entries, and I just sort of help it. So that was cool. It was like, I won't say it was a no click week, because I certainly like help the bot, but I let it influence where I'm even just like caring about like looking at the market. The bad, I would just say that I saw some people that I care about get absolutely fucking annihilated this week.
I'd call that ugly.
Yeah, ugly, fine. Good, yeah. Bad, ugly. And yeah, I think bad would just be, it's fuck, dude, I hate trading up here. I'm done with this. Like, it's just like,
I've heard Baba say that too.
Yeah, I just like, you know, yeah, there's cool opportunities, and like, yeah, there's momentum that builds up here, but it's just like, man, bring me back down into like a range that
somewhere where I have some targets.
Yeah, like put a bunch of resistance above and a bunch of support below, and you know, let somebody win. I don't really care. I'll hit the buy button, I'll hit the sell button. But it's just like, you know, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I like to sell and I just hate fucking buying every day. Yeah, just give me a range where like it's possible that my, you know, whatever, my analysis matters to the top side, to the downside. It's just like, oh, we dip to support, buy. Yeah, I can't stand it. So that's my buy.
I mean, that's a good problem to have, I suppose.
I'm not short biased, I promise.
Yeah. Man, I had a really good week too, just in terms of process. Results wise, it was kind of a flat week, but I've been working with Andrew behind the scenes, prepping for a new mini series that's going to kind of follow in the footsteps of the Trade Runners one that we did with Rich Friesen. And man, I don't know, I felt like I just kind of leveled up or something. We recorded on Wednesday, and so he gave me some homework, and part of that was identifying like the trader that I want to be, right? Like who's my ideal trader? This is probably going to be a topic for another episode. I don't want to spoil too much of the upcoming interview, but started the day Thursday with 3 thoughts that I'd written out. I asked myself, who am I going to be today? I'm going to be a patient trader, meaning that I'm not going to take any trades before the 15-minute OR is set. I'm going to be a risk manager, which means I'll honor my daily drawdown limits, which for me is any account that realizes more than $200 a drawdown. I'll close that account and go to the next one. And then being balanced emotionally or mentally. To do that, I've been annotating on the charts, and I sent you guys a screenshot of what one of those looks like. Or all the FOMO urges, all the rational thoughts of like, oh, I kind of like what they're doing here. Like I'm just putting all that on the chart so that way it interrupts that thought process. It stops the impulse from happening up here and then traveling to my finger to click the button. I put one extra step in there that interrupts that cycle. And man, it's made a huge freaking difference. Thursday, Friday, it just felt like I was trading with my emotions, not against them, if that makes any sense. You guys ever experienced anything like that? Like, am I sounding like a crazy person here? Like, it just felt calm, felt peaceful, felt good.
I don't know if I'd call it emotion as much as I would call it instincts and experience.
Kind of locked.
Emotion is probably the opposite, right? Like when you're going on a whim, you are tapping into what you know and allocating risk or not allocating capital based upon logical decision making processes.
Right.
You're playing probabilities versus, you just lick your finger and say it's just gonna go somewhere or whatever, or the TPO guys like, oh yeah, value. Like, not that all that stuff doesn't work, but like you have some logic or reason behind your decision making process. It wasn't emotional. It was logical. Right.
Now, man, I hit some fucking bangers this week. I had a 400-point runner on Dow, which it was Dow, I know, but still.
Then he sends me a message. I got 400-point runner, and I was like, "Oh, that's good, man." And then he brings it up again, and I'm like, "Dude, it was Dow. It does not count."
I was trying to get you to point it out. Sorry to get you to point it out.
Did I say is the Dow at like 40K right now? Or something ridiculous? Where is the Dow? I haven't looked at that fucking.
I don't know. I closed out a runner today a little short. I was targeting 4,400 on that. I think it ended up running up to like 46 or something.
Oh my god.
Oh, 575. Yeah. But yeah, I mean that still not smoking, which has been since the trip that I went on to the end of June, which didn't think that was going to happen. I kind of backdoored into that one. Let's see, the bad and the ugly. I don't remember the exact day. It wasn't all roses and catnip I wrote here because I don't remember what the saying is. It was I think it was Tuesday. I let the emotions get the better of my trading. But what was great about it was it didn't affect me the way it used to. Like it was kind of we made that mistake. Like, all right, we'll deal with that now. And then actually there's even a specific moment on that day when I had hit max draw on 4 out of my 5 accounts, which not max draw, but my personal drawdown limit. I was getting ready to just throw that out the window and put another trade on. And then I just stopped. And then I said to myself, you lost enough money today. And I closed up the charts and that was it. Didn't even think twice about it again. And like, that was a really proud moment for me. Sometimes it's hard to pull yourself out of those types of days.
So good.
I don't know. I think I'm onto something here. I'm going to keep running with it as long as I can.
I think that's great, man.
Yeah. Just felt good, dude. Just felt good. It's been a while since it's felt good. I feel like you coming out of your season of change,
Mm-hmm. Or it's starting to feel like a grind again. So.
Is it?
Oh, man. Yeah, good for this week. I don't know that I didn't do stuff on certain days was probably the good, to be honest. Like, I've been sitting here watching the charts a lot this week, just thinking what Fleri said out loud, which is like, I'm kind of done with this area. I mean, this whole like helium thing within Q, it's just, just isn't really
Not doing it for you?
It's not doing it for me. And so I got two options with that. I can either, try to force it, try to force like just, bully my way into stuff, or just kind of like, when I try to interact with the market a little bit this week, it has felt kind of like the gotcha,
Mhm.
like, oh, this is a pretty good setup right here. I've been pretty patient for a while. Let's take this trade, and then we're stopped on the trade, and then we unfold in the direction. It's like, oh man, and that happens sometimes, and you jump right back in. But I've tried to reel in, like, if I can't get positioned in a zone, then and it's not really clean for me, then I'll just wait till the next till time rolls around and we get kind of a new range or something different to deal with. So I think I've sort of done that a little bit. The bad is like, so I talked about needing to trade those Top Step accounts like they actually mattered instead of just like dicking around with them, and then
Right.
like ended up out of boredom because I'm not, I was like, oh well, I can just dingle hopper around with these things on this other screen. I traded those the same way I have, the whole time, which is like put a trade on, move the stop to infinity, and then set the take profit at the daily max, and then minimize the window. And then at the end of the day, look back and be like, oh man, or hey, look at there. So
Right.
just trading them that way, it's probably just not the best. Yeah, I mean, that pretty much covers it. I think my angst with some of this is also the week. Like, we sent our kids away, to my parents for like 3 days. So I had like time with my wife I could spend, and then like I'm sitting at the chart pissed off where NQ's trading, rather be going to brunch with her or like going to have an adventure. None of that really, worked out for me having like this vigor to really kill it this week. And it kind of sucks looking back at the week, because we had, at least that one day where we could have really, swept up if we'd have been a little bit sharper. So I kind of feel a little bit like I was pulled in different directions this week and didn't really have like 110% to the table.
Probably explains why you're so quick to call it a day, which probably the right decision then if you're not in it.
Yeah, well, just this, like I said, I mean, you got 5 kids. I've got 5 kids. One is at camp, and the other 4 are gone. And like my wife is like just farting around in the house, and I'm over here like flipping NQ off, or like flipping off the fact that its news is about to drop. It's like, I mean, I could go do like fun things. We did have some fun or whatever. Or like today, my kids were back, and like my son wants to go play golf, and he wants to go like this morning, and I'm like, I gotta do the show thing, whatever. We end up going this afternoon. Things like that. Like this week was full of those kind of
Dude, this area makes it more frustrating, doesn't
conflicting desires, and then NQ's like where it is. And
dude, I pulled it up. Pax like nailed it. And I remember reading this, and I was like, oh my god, that's like so perfect to how I feel about this. He called it a reluctant rally. And I'm like,
yes,
fuck,
that's a great term.
Serendipitous, like a reluctant rally. Like, fuck, all right, fine, I'll just buy it. Like, God, all right, like, fine. And I think it probably goes for a while, right? Like, this is not. I don't think this is going to end anytime soon. But I mean, whatever. Yeah, I'm sure this weekend on Twitter we'll get a bunch of opinions.
It's fine. Like, it's totally fine. I will say that like it's equal parts this week having a lot of other things that I could be doing that would be fun, and equal parts like just looking at what this, how this has moved. I was talking to Banks. I was like, this is like COVID backwards. Remember how COVID, it was just like click and sell, and it just went down and down for like 3 months, just down, like relief rally, down. And it was just like, every day you just looked at the same things, like a drill just going, or however long it was, but it was dramatic. And we've seen that a few times. So like, and you just kind of get like, oh, come on, guys. That's kind of how I feel about like this other way, which, probably is the fuel for the gasoline for it to go higher. So
I'll tell you what, you're probably gonna love the AI bold prediction I looked up today.
how is this a thing? AI is making bold predictions now?
I mean, ChatGPT was terrible at it, but Clio was wanting to test out this one called Pi, which I don't know if you've heard of this one, but
Yep.
it's like your friend bot. Like it can talk to you, like cheer you up when you're feeling sad and like weird shit like that. So I gave it the question. I said, give me a bold prediction for next week, and it said, "Do I want mild or spicy?"
I hope you said spicy.
Oh, I said spicy. So this is what it gave me here. All right, it said by the end of next week, the S&P 500 will experience a sharp decline of 5% or more, driven by growing fears of looming recession and a perceived lack of action from the Federal Reserve.
That fucking AI needs to get off of Twitter. Too many doomer accounts on that one.
I know, that's what I'm actually kind of want to play with this for a couple weeks.
5%? What is 5% right now?
Well, 5% would be like 250
points.
Yeah, almost.
That's fucking possible.
On ES.
Pulls up ES chart. Dude, ES is so strong. I don't know why.
So here's the thing that's got me really interested about this, the predictions that it's going to give me, because this thing is like programmed.
Points is not happening.
This thing is programmed to tell you things that you want to hear, right? So like it's got to be like trying to reaffirm your confidence or like boost you up. Like if it's breeding Twitter, like that's probably what everybody wants to happen. But I think this might be a good fade tool.
What's 5% 1,000? So where's Oh, dude, there's no way.
Where does that put it?
19.5 in NQ.
Where does that put SPY at?
I mean,
19.5.
Like that would just, there needs so much more catalyst than that.
You know what that would do? That would clean up some of the weekly single prints. There are weekly single prints, not to get too distracted, all the way down.
Dude, the fact that we're even considering this is just telling you how much this fucking robot is pandering to us, dude. Oh my god, it got me to pull up a chart. I'm like, maybe it's right, 5%. Can I try buy some puts?
That's how it works, right?
I'm on fucking Weekend Wall Street shorting this thing.
We should buy we should have team put, team call. Buy some puts and calls and like week dated or 2 week dated, and then come back and you have to just hold them till the close on Friday. And then,
let me see what my shit says. Let me see. I'm gonna tell you what team I'm on. Okay, so it's 5,656.
I mean, we're inside of a 3 week balance. We closed back inside a range.
630. No, it's bullish. 71% chance we trade 1,000 ticks higher than the open on Sunday. Not that I have stats on it or anything. It's happened 21 times.
Oh shit! Yeah. Oh god. Sorry, Cleo. Yeah. Let me see if I can dig that up real quick.
You have an AI song?
Where did you post that, Cleo?
Is it Dorme O Gato, Mr. Roboto?
No, but it's a perfect way, I think, to end the episode.
Me doing the robot?
Oh shit! Give me a second. I'm gonna look this up.
Oh shit!
While you look that up, my kid was asking me while I was driving to school why nobody wears sunglasses at night. And I was like, dude, that's a great question. Somebody made a song exactly covering this topic. And so I played him like what I can only imagine. It has to be an 80s song, right? It's either 80s or like super early 90s. So I played him Sunglasses. Yeah. Like, dude, the synth, like, I was like, man, somebody needs to make a remix of this thing. So he's been walking around singing like, he wears his sunglasses at night so I can. Dude, I swear to God, he puts his glasses on in the car and he gets the head bob going and the whole thing. It's been so good. Did AI make the AI song?
Yeah, she punched it. I don't know if she fed it the lyrics or if she just told it make me a future song.
We all start with crypto and then try our luck with options. Now we're trading futures and are stuck with NQ and ES or maybe UB. We wonder if we're dealing with childhood trauma, or maybe we just haven't done enough back testing. Surely all the people on Twitter will know.
Was it like a Sarah McLachlan? Have Sarah McLachlan Right
Lilith there.
Wait, where did it get the information for the song? From listening to this podcast or from like the internet? Where in the style of Taylor Swift?
Oh, in the style of Taylor Swift. Nice. Okay.
What was the source? Like what did like
think
it
this
literally
was
just
Pi,
scoured
wasn't
the
it?
internet and it found problems?
Oh, Udio.
Oh, man.
Udio.com. I'll put that link in the
So good.
description here. All right, but I think that's probably going to do it for today, folks.
Yeah, now that you cut me to the core AI. Go sit here for the weekend.
All right, I want to say thank you to Fleri, Baba Yaga, and Pi-bot for joining us tonight. And everyone listening who stuck around to the end. Remember to show our panelists some love. Click on those links in the show notes. Visit vantatrading.com to join Baba every morning. Band of Traders podcast, where you can browse our huge catalog by guests or check out the new Knowledge Center. We'll be back soon with another exciting episode, hopefully more widespread than AT&T's recent data breach. But until then, be the listener that rates and reviews your favorite show and have a great week.
Get us to number 1 in Uruguay.
Please. This podcast is intended for informational and educational purposes only. It does not constitute financial or investment advice and should not be construed as such. The hosts, guests, and contributors of this podcast are not licensed financial advisors, brokers, or professionals. Any trading or investment decisions made based on the content of this podcast are solely at the listener's discretion and risk. Trading and investing in financial markets carry inherent risks, and past performance is not indicative of future results. Listeners should conduct their own research and seek advice from qualified financial professionals before making any financial decisions. The views, opinions, and information shared in this podcast are those of the individual contributors and do not necessarily reflect the views or policies of the podcast creators or associated organizations. Produced by China Shop Productions.